Well, Robbo, you said last week you were really excited about this week, a full week of training. How's it gone?
Yeah, on the whole, it's gone well. I've introduced some sort of training methods that I believe in that I've done before in terms of player ownership, and you kind of wait for the right time to do it, and it felt like the right time to do it. So it's kind of a bit of a bigger change for some, not for others who know me. And it's good, but the lads are buying into it well. As I said, it's quite a change for some of them. For some, they're possibly being used to being told what to do all the time. So it's sort of steering away from that, because I believe, some of our less positive results have come from people sort of not being able to take ownership and react to things. So that's been good. It's gone really, really well, and generally the lads have, been in good spirit.
Does that mean that you want everyone to be leaders, not just the clutchy players?
Yeah, it's not about lead. It's leaders. Everyone leads in different ways. It's not, when you talk about leaders, a lot of people think everyone's talking, but that's not everyone. People can lead in their performance and in their actions, and it's more about that really. And it's just more about them taking control of situations. And we had an interesting game the other day where we were excellent for 25 minutes, and then we didn't show those qualities. So it's not about shouting and screaming, it's more about your actions and recognising when there's a dip in your intensity and things like that, and being able to rectify it yourself and not waiting till half time.
And that relies a lot on communication between the players, isn't it? That's something you're very big on, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, and as I said, some people aren't real big talkers, but it doesn't mean they can't communicate. You can communicate really simply. You don't have to be talking all the time. It can just be one or two words. It can be hand signals. It can be anything. But it's just recognising that picture. And I said it's also recognising when there's just a dip in our levels, and being able to self-manage and lift it again. And and to do this kind of stuff, you have to have honest little conversations with each other. Know each other inside out. So we're just trying to, we're just ramping things up a little bit.
Fans will have heard about a game behind closed doors that we had on Thursday. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was really good for 25 minutes. And for 25 minutes we were excellent, really good on the ball. Went 1-0 up, excellent goal, and Nesta scored, and looked really, really comfortable. And then there was just a dip again, exactly what I'm talking about. There was a dip, and we give away 2 cheap goals before half time, and then the second half was different. We brought on loads of the youngsters, including the 18s, so we ended up losing 3-1. But for 25 minutes, we, in terms of how we looked after the ball and our movement, we were as good as we've been. But that's not good enough. We've got to be working towards complete performances. So.
And what was the aim of the game? Was it just because to keep them ticking over with a 2-week gap?
Yeah, it was to give some of the lads who haven't played as much more minutes. So Marshy played 75 minutes, and then the others, have been playing regularly just to get 45 minutes into them. So, obviously we didn't have the lads who were on international break. So as I said, for 25 minutes or 28 minutes, whatever it was, till we scored, it was really pleasing. We kept the ball so well, and we looked a threat. So, but yeah, we just didn't want to have 2 weeks without any games at all. So it was just important that we had that.
Shay Alexander, when we did an interview with him the other day, he spoke about also having fun in the training complex, as well as working really hard. How important is it to get that balance right?
Of course it is, because if you don't have that other side to it, you never get to know people. So you have to have that, as well as coming in and working hard and putting everything into training and listening and having that education environment. You also want an environment where they feel like they can be themselves, because if you don't get them to relax and open up and be themselves, then you don't thoroughly get to know them, and you need to get to know them to know what's going to make them tick, because everyone's different. So no, it's key.
I recall a visit a few years back to another club, a development match, and you showed off your table tennis talents as well, so maybe you put in a challenge for them?
You're going back some years. Yeah, no, I'm not getting to play as much as the other lads, so I need to get my iron. But no, I'm doing all right. I'm losing, but not by much, so I need to maybe get a little bit more practice in.
It's good to hear. On a completely different subject, Aaron Cosgrave scored a superb goal in midweek. Perhaps you might look at his situation come January?
Yeah, maybe. I just, I want to avoid it unless it's a necessity, because, as I said, I'm a big believer where we're going to go that I want these lads to be playing football all the time. So unless it's an absolute necessity, I don't want to bring him in and then he's maybe sitting on the bench or coming on for 20 minutes when at the moment he's playing 90 minutes of football every week, because that's going to put him in much better stead for next season than if I just bring him in for a squad, because maybe we're a little bit light. So I'm fully confident unless we get injuries, that we can still be really, really effective with what we got and cope with what we got. If that's not the case, then obviously I'll have to look at it, but I don't want to do it just, as I said, just for the sake of it, because I want these lads out playing football and developing, and that's what's happening there. They're all playing lots of football now, apart from a couple of them have been injured, and they're all, what it appears to be is they're all getting better and better. We've got Alfie Bendel and Elliot Bolton, I think they're one round away from the FA Cup proper now, which is exciting. It's so exciting for them, and both performing really, really well, and that's the same across the board.
And it's still 8 days until our next game, so what's the plan now? What'll be next?
So we're going to give the lads a weekend off, so we worked tomorrow again today, even though we had a game yesterday, so we're going to give them the weekend off, and then we'll be back in a full week, ready to prepare for Sheffield Wednesday. We need to iron out some things where we know we need to be better, but also be mindful that there's lots of good stuff going on, and make sure that we don't go away from what we are, which we felt we did against Rotherham, and just be fully prepared for the Sheffield Wednesday game.
And as you've hinted there, there's 2 weeks, there's 2 week gap in fixtures. It's not just, although we want to beat Sheffield Wednesday and Lincoln, this is a valuable 2 weeks for the whole season.
Yeah, and we've got to make sure that we're sharp and we're ready. It can be good having 2 weeks off, because, as I said, you can work on things, but we've also got to make sure that they're ready to go. I noticed on the last international break there was a few teams that didn't have games, and their results weren't positive on the week back. So I need to look at that and make sure that we're ready to be firing on all cylinders come next Saturday.